Good morning. Welcome to my kitchen. It's a cool morning here in Ohio, and as you can see, I'm in my sweats this morning, but I had to move this up. I had it scheduled, but I have some dough here that I got out of my freezer. So I'm going to have to start working on that. So let me get my puppies a treat, and then we'll get started. Hi guys. Good morning, Noah. Good morning, Ryder. I'll have this one for you, honey. That's a little bit big. There you go. I had made homemade dough, and I put it in my freezer. And I laid it out this morning because I'm going to be making some homemade pizza here this morning. And I need to shape a loaf of bread. So over here, I've got dough that's rising quicker than I thought it would. So I apologize. I set it for 10. We're here a little bit early, but it'll be okay. Let me get my hands washed and we'll get started. How is everyone this morning? We had a heavy frost here this morning in Ohio. And with me going in and out with the puppies, it was a little bit cold. So I'm in my sweats this morning. So welcome to my kitchen. And as you've seen from my thumbnail, I went on a little shopping adventure yesterday. And I found some really, really cute items. So I'm going to show you what I found. If you've been following me, you know that I have the camper and that we go camping a lot. And we're getting ready to make the move to the new property. And we're going to have our mobile home here that I'm in now. We will have to empty everything out and it'll be moved. So my camper is going to be set up on the property first, and we're going to be moving into the camper until the mobile home's moved. So if you've ever been in a camper and you know how small the stoves and ovens are, I try to adjust and find things that I know is going to work really well in the camper. Let me get the puppies one more treat. Apparently that wasn't enough. Give me 1 minute. And we're real life here. We don't change anything or anything like that. Okay, so try treatment 2. Hello, love. Good morning, Otto. How are you this morning? So anyway, I'm going to wash my hands again after I get done showing you these things. So anyway, in a camper, you have a very small stove and a very small oven. So I went on a little shopping adventure yesterday, and I found some really cute items. Hi, good morning. Good morning, Frederick. And it's going to be perfect for the camper. And I don't know if you've ever been to Gabriel's. We call it Gabe's. It's a small discount store, and they normally sell overstocked items for really low prices. And I was there, and they had some things in the kitchen, for the kitchen, and I thought, well, let me go see what they have. And yes, I found some goodies, and I think this is going to be perfect for the camper. Now, when I first set up my camper, I just got some cheap camping cookware, and it had the non-stick stuff in it. And whenever I was cooking toward the end of fall last year, the black stuff came out when I was cooking my pasta. So needless to say, the pasta went out and so did the cooking pot. It's Ferret King. Oh, hi. Good morning, Ferret King. So, when I was at Gabriel's yesterday, I found this. They were individual, and they were only $5.99 a piece. And I thought, for a camping stove, which is very small, this is going to be really nice. So, you could pick out individual pieces. So, just look at that. Perfect for the little camp stove. Stainless steel. It's okay. You look like Mama Grandma, and that's a huge compliment. By the way, I found look up on the internet. Oh, well, thank you. So I thought these would be perfect, and they were only $4.99, $5 a piece, or $5.99. I can't remember. I took my tag off, unfortunately. And I like that they do have the little handles that are coated. So I got a small one. And I got one to cook my noodles or make soup. And it was the same price. And it has the little grip handles. And these are called Kitchen Sense. And they're stainless steel. They're very nice. And they do have the induction bottom. And if you've ever been camping, the camp stoves seem to be set a little bit higher. And it's kind of hard to turn your burners down. So having the induction bottom is going to really be nice. I thought that was something nice that I would share with you. It's okay that you misspelled my name. Oh, thank you. You're so polite. So that's one of the items that I picked up. And for $4.99 or $5.99, and as you can see, they're very nice. And Gabriel's just has overstocked products, and they mark them way down. So I haven't looked this up on the internet yet, but I will. And then I'll compare the price as to what I paid as to what they actually sell for. So that was one of the items that I picked up. The two pots for the camper. And I do like the rubber handles. That's really nice. And as you can see, they are very nice. So that's one of the items. And then another item that I found that I thought would be really handy for the camper. I subscribe to you. Oh, well, thank you. This is a little handheld chopper. Now, how cute is that? It has a rubber bottom. And it comes apart. You can put your things in the bottom. And then chop. A little handheld. And then the top also comes off for cleaning as well. And I thought for a camper in the camper, that would be not taking up much space. If I needed to chop some walnuts or a little bit of onions or peppers. How adorable is that? And this was $3.99. $3.99. And it's very cute. And I like that it has the rubber on the bottom. That way it's not going to be moving around. And it has 3 nice blades in it for chopping. Well, actually, it's more blades than 3. I'll bring it out there so you can see. But how adorable. And if you're limited on space like I will be in the camper, that is easy to just set in and store. And I have a little instant chopper. So that is another item that I got. So we'll try that out and we'll find out what it's like. And I'll do a review on it. And another thing, as you've seen from my thumbnail, look how cute. And I love anything that looks old-fashioned. And this is basically more for decorative. It does give you a warning on the bottom. That's very cool. I think it is really cute. Now, it does say, warning, cancer and reproductive harm. So this is not for kitchen use. But I thought, how cute is that just for a decoration? Or if I want to use it as a vase and put flowers in it for different seasons. And this was, I think, $7.99, if I'm not mistaken. But is that not absolutely adorable? And it's so old-fashioned look. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but it looks like it has the crackling in it. I think that is just adorable. I really, really like that. So I picked that up, and I can just see flowers in that setting on my counter or on my island, and just using it as a decoration. I thought that just caught my eye. It was so cute. And then another thing that I found is a set of cutting boards. And it is Homestead Kitchen. And the price that I paid was $9.99 for 2 cutting boards. So you have a solid one, and then you have the decorative one. And I thought that is really, really cute. And yes, I have cutting boards, and I've had them for a while. And I thought, well, I really like that. So I picked those up, and I just love the collars on them. So that was a few things that I picked up on my little shopping excursion yesterday. Here's the solid one, the larger one, and then the flowered smaller cutting boards. So that's a set of 2 for $9.99. So I thought that was really, really cute. And then another thing that I picked up. Now this I ordered for the camper, but I usually like to show when I get new things in. And because the oven in the camp stove is so small, you're limited on what kind of baking pans, sheet pans, that you can actually fit in the camper. So I ordered these. I think these were ordered through Walmart, and it's a set of 3. And I think the largest one's only a 9 by 12. But I don't think the 9 by 12 will fit in the camper oven. However, it does come with 2 other smaller. And I know that'll fit in my oven, so now I will have a little bit more options for the camper oven because it is very tiny. I have one 9 by 13 glass cake dish, and it will not fit in that camper oven. So if I want to do bacon and save the grease, they're really nice and deep. They're deep. So I got a set of 3. And I also got this little tiny one. So that'll give me a little bit more options. And these are Vester. But you can see how nice and deep those are. And that will give me some more options for my little camp stove, because we're probably going to be in the camper for probably a month or so, because when we move the mobile home to the new property, everything's got to be set up. And then we were doing remodeling on the mobile home, and the part that I'm in right now, the kitchen, this part has not been remodeled. So we want to remove all of the cabinets and counters. We did get the new range, the new vent, and the new dishwasher, the new sink, but the counters and cabinets will all have to be removed. So we may go ahead and try and get as much of the remodeling done before we move back into the mobile home. And that way we can get all the remodeling done, the ceilings painted, the walls painted, and hopefully when we move back in, everything will be done. So we can take our time because we'll have the camper on the property as well. So, like I said, when you're working with a camp stove, some 9x13s will not fit in it. So I thought, wow, that is just so cool. I know that that's going to give me a couple of small baking pans with racks to use in the oven. I have to go to school. Bye. Okay, thank you. That is so convenient. Yes, it is very convenient. Because when you're working with the camp stove, you don't have much room in the oven. And you don't have a whole lot of room on top. And even though this is a 9x12, I'm hoping that that may fit in that oven, but I don't think it will. So this will probably just be part of my kitchen for here at home. And that'll just give me an extra pan with a rack. And they are very nice. They're stainless steel. They're deep. So I got those through Walmart. So that's another new thing that I picked up. But I absolutely enjoyed my shopping adventure yesterday. I had so much fun. I just took my time and went around and looked, and I found so many really cute things. And maybe one day when I go back to Gabriel's, I'll take you if you've never been to a Gabriel's. But they're just a discount store. They normally sell, like I said, overstocked products. And they sell them at very, very reasonable prices. So, it was cool yesterday, and I just needed a day. I needed an adventure. So, that is some of the things that I found on my little trip yesterday. Again, I found the 2 pieces of cookware. I got the larger one and a smaller one for the camper. They have the induction heat on the bottom. They have the rubber handles. And those will be just perfect for the camper stove because you don't have a lot of room on the camper stove. And these are kitchen scents. And they all have the little rubber handles, which is really, really nice. So I got the set of 2, and they were $4.99 or $5.99 a piece. So I got the small one and the large one. And they are so nice. And they do have the induction bottom. So that'll be nice for the camp stove. And then again, I did get the small chopper. The little hand chopper, and it was just called a hand chopper. It has your bottom. You can remove this one, put everything in your bottom, and just chop. And I thought that'd be really, really handy for the camper. So, how cute is that? And I like that this is rubber, so it won't slide on your counter. This comes off to clean, and the upper part also comes off. So both parts come off, and then your bottom part comes off. So when you're in a camper with small space, this is a little hand chopper. How adorable is that? And then the 2-piece cutting board. The large one is solid. And then the decorative one on the front. And these were $9.99. And the little chopper, I think, was $4.99 or $3.99. So anyway, I thought I would show you some of the goodies that I got on my little shopping adventure yesterday. And I have to move this up because I'm going to be working with my frozen dough. I always make my homemade dough, and I freeze some of it and put it in the freezer. And then when I want to take it out and use it, I just bring it out in the morning, let it thaw, and then I can shape it and use it. So that's why I had to bump this up a little bit. My dough says it's ready, so I'm going to go ahead and form my dough, one into a bread loaf for sandwich bread, and the other one, we're going to make a homemade pizza using that as pizza dough. So let me wash my hands and we'll get started on that. I love being able to make your own dough because that way you know what all you've put in it. And I'm going to move you, let me see. Let me move a few things around here. I'm just going to move that. Let me put this underneath of here. And I'm limited on space, so I'm just going to move a few things around here. And I'm going to be using my cast iron bread pan to make my bread this morning. So let me get you moved over here, and I'll be using this as a little workspace. All right, let me see what I can move around here to give me just a little bit of room. I'm very limited on my room in the kitchen. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to get my first loaf of my bread. I want to get this shaped. And this was the frozen loaf. I took it out this morning, and this is my homemade dough. I think I did a live stream where you could see me making the homemade dough. And then I'll freeze it and then let it thaw, and then I'll bring it out after it thaws and I'll shape it. So I'm going to shape this one into my bread or my bread dough. So I'm going to go ahead and get my pan there. And I'm going to put some vegetable oil in the pan. And when you're using cast iron, you want to make sure that you over-grease your pans so your bread doesn't stick. So I usually use about 2 or 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And I absolutely love my cast iron. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on my oven. And I'm going to let it start preheating to 350 degrees. After I get my bread pan ready here. And I'm just using a brush. And I want to make sure I get all of those corners really good. And I just want to make sure that it's well greased. And because it's the cast iron, and my bread may raise a little bit higher, I always go ahead and add just a little bit on my edges just to make sure that my bread doesn't stick to the edges in case it does over-rise a little bit. Then I'm going to kind of wipe off that excess there so it's not overbuilt, but it's greased. Let me go ahead and get my oven turned on. And I'll turn on my exhaust fan. Okay, now I'm going to shape this loaf of bread. And this is just my dough, homemade dough. And I'm just going to take this out now that it's thawed. And I'm going to shape this into my bread loaf. And then I'm going to let it do its final rise. And I don't want to really overwork it, so I'm just kind of taking some of the air out. And then I'm just going to shape it into a loaf. I want to make sure that I don't have any open seams. Fold my ends under. And then I'm just going to set that right in my loaf pan. And I'm going to let it go through its final rise. And then I'll put this in the oven. Just want to try and shape it out a little bit more. Now I'm just going to let that set on the counter and rise. And now my second loaf, this I'm going to turn into a homemade pizza. Because hubby wants pizza for dinner, so I'm going to turn this into a homemade pizza. And it's thawed out just perfect so I can work with it. And I like a deep dish pizza. So I'm just going to try and form this out a little bit before I get my pan ready. Just going to do a little bit of stretching. And then I'm going to turn this into a homemade pizza. Get me a pan ready. And that's what I like about your own dough. When you make your own dough, it is so much more flexible. You can stretch it, turn it, and it makes it so much easier to form. And this I made probably about a week ago, the dough, and I made extra, and I put it in the freezer. And then I just set it out in the morning when I want to make something and let it thaw enough to where I can work it and shape it. And hubby said he would like to have a homemade pizza, so I knew I needed a loaf out for bread, and I just laid an extra loaf out to make homemade pizza. And once it sets for a few minutes, it gets more elastic. You can work it a little bit better. And I usually just work it from the middle to the outside. And I want my oven heated at 350 because I'm going to set this dough in there once I get it formed. And I'm going to let it rise a little bit in the oven. But if you're wanting to see my dough recipe, I think I did at least 1 or 2 lives where I was making the dough, and even one I think where I was making homemade pizza. But it's very easy to work. What type of bread are you making? I'm making a pizza using my homemade dough. I have just a simple recipe, and I call it my everything dough. I use it for pizza dough. I use it for homemade bread, for my white sandwich bread, my cinnamon raisin bread. I use it for dinner rolls. It is such a flexible dough that you can use it with just about anything. Now when my oven hits 350, I'm going to go ahead and put this in and let it rise a little bit in the oven. Just pushing to the outside with my hand, using this part of my hand to form me a really nice crust. And this dough is so forgiving, and it does such a wonderful job. It is just an amazing dough. I absolutely love it. So I normally, when I make it in my bread machine. And when I have it out and using the bread machine, I'll just go ahead and make a few extra loaves, and then I'll wrap them in plastic, and then I'll put them in the freezer bag and set them in the freezer. And then I will have extra dough for when I need it. Now I'm going to let this rise a little bit in the oven before I put my pizza together. And I just put a few holes there, so when it's rising, it will help it to get a little more airflow in the bottom. As you can see, this is such a nice dough. And if you watched one of my live streams, I think I was making a homemade pizza, and I think the dough recipe's on there. So, I'm going to wait till the oven preheats, and then we'll go ahead and get that put in the oven. So while that is heating, I'm going to go ahead and mix up my homemade spaghetti or pizza sauce. And I just use an 8-ounce can of just plain tomato sauce. And this is just about perfect for a single pizza. And I'll just make my own pizza sauce. So is it cold where you're at this morning? Sun's out now, and it's getting really nice. But it was cold here this morning. We had frost. So I'm going to use 8 ounces of just tomato sauce. And you can use any brand. I'm messy this morning. And then I'm going to add some garlic powder. And this is your own sauce, so you can add whatever you want. If you don't like garlic powder, by all means don't use garlic powder. And I have some Italian seasoning. I'm going to add some of that to my pizza sauce. Just a little bit. And I like a sweet pizza sauce. So I'm going to go ahead. I think the oven's warm enough. I'm going to go ahead and set this in and let it start rising a little bit. It's 320 degrees right now. I set it for 350, so I'm going to put that pizza crust in there and let it rise. And I just add a couple tablespoons of sugar, just enough to take that tang out. We'll do about 2.5 tablespoons. And this is what I have left of my bread. So that's why I shaped another loaf and making another loaf today. And that's just plain white sandwich bread with using what I call my anything and everything dough. I love it for white sandwich bread, cinnamon raisin bread, cinnamon rolls, dinner rolls, and as you can see, pizza crust. Okay, so now I have my spaghetti, or my pizza sauce ready. I'm going to let that rise just a minute, and then I'll get it started. Then I'm just going to be doing a simple, easy pizza today. So I have some, now I'm 350. I have some shredded mozzarella, and I have some pepperoni. So I'll go ahead and get these out. I had all of these in the freezer, and I took everything out this morning. I took the dough out. I take my cheese and put it in portions because it's only my husband and myself. So we don't need a whole lot. But that's plenty if I need to make a pizza, or if I'm making lasagna, or a any dish that needs mozzarella topping for the oven, because I'm only cooking for 2. And then I have pepperoni. And here is the loaf that I shaped for my bread, and I'm just going to let that sit there and rise a little bit, and then I'll bake that. That was the second loaf I had out this morning. So, I'm waiting for that to get done. And yes, hubby still has plenty of treats. As you can see, he's got oatmeal raisin cookies in his dessert dish, which he always lets me know if it gets low. And I made applesauce. I made my homemade applesauce, and then I turned it into applesauce walnut muffins, and he's got 2 muffins left. I did my applesauce in the crock pot. And I just cooked my apples down and made some beautiful applesauce. And I put plenty of cinnamon in it because I knew I was going to be turning it into muffins. So I just peeled my apples and cored them, cooked them down in the crock pot. And that is, I wanted it to be thick because I was going to be making applesauce walnut muffins. And this turned out beautiful. So I'm going to use the rest of this today, and I'm going to make an applesauce raisin walnut cake, or bread, almost like a banana bread, but it'll be an applesauce walnut raisin bread. So then I'll be able to use up the rest of my homemade applesauce. And the pizza looks good. So let me get it moved over here. It's raised really nice. I'm just going to put a towel down here so I don't burn my counter or myself. And that has raised very nice. Nice and fluffy. So now I'm going to put my pizza together. And I'm just going to add my pizza sauce. And I'm just making a basic pepperoni and cheese homemade pizza. And I like using the 8-ounce can of tomato sauce to make the sauce, because it pretty well uses the whole amount for this pizza. I like extra sauce. So if you don't like extra sauce, you could always make your pizza a little thinner and not as thick on the crust, and you could divide that up into 2 pizzas. Make sure I got plenty on there. Because this will be a deep dish pizza. Then I'm going to get my mozzarella on there. And I'm just making a pepperoni, extra cheese pizza. And those portions work out just perfect. So when you're cooking for a family of 2, by dividing things up in portions, you're saving money. I can buy it in bulk and then divide it into individual portions and just freeze it and just set it out the morning that I'm going to be using it. And now let's get some pizza, or some pepperoni on the pizza. And I'm using large pepperoni. Hubby likes a lot of pepperoni on his pizza. So this is an extra pepperoni and cheese pizza. Now he definitely has pepperoni on his pizza. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of extra cheese on top. Just going to sprinkle it lightly. Excuse me. Whoa. Oh, jeez. I'm making a mess this morning. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil on my crust. So I'm just going to brush my crust with some light olive oil to help it brown nice. And we will get that in the oven. Homemade pizza. Extra pepperoni, extra cheese. And I'm going to put that in the oven at 350 until it is nice and brown. And then with my extra pizza sauce, I'm going to put that in a small container. And then I'll probably add to that. I can use that because it was basically tomato sauce when I'm going to make my spaghetti or spaghetti sauce or anything like that. I'll just go ahead and add that, and that way I'm not wasting. Because with prices as high as they are, I don't like to waste. And I know I'm going to be making baked spaghetti tomorrow. So I'm just going to put that in the refrigerator. And then I'll add that in with my spaghetti sauce. And that way I haven't wasted anything. Okay, so let me get this in the refrigerator. And I'm rinsing everything out here so it's easier to clean. So that was really fast, really easy. So I'll let that dough rise for my bread and let it do its final rise, and then I'll put it in the oven. And hubby will have his pizza. And as you can see, it's starting to rise. It's rising very nicely. And I'll just let that sit on the counter and rise for my sandwich bread. And I think that's all I have today. I don't really have a whole lot today. So, I wanted to show you my goodies that I picked up on my shopping spree yesterday. And again, I just think this is so pretty. And I really like the look of it. I'm hoping that you can see it has like the crackle look to it. And I think that is just so cute. I think that's going to be absolutely adorable with some flowers in it, sitting on the island or on the counter. And of course, this is not for kitchen use. This is just a decoration. And I just fell in love with that. It looks so old-fashioned. I love the dimpling and the crackling look. It has little dimples. And I just think that is just so cute. I can just see that with flowers for every season, just sitting on a counter or on my island or just sitting in the kitchen for decoration. So I think that's adorable. And then again, the rest of the goodies that I picked up yesterday, the 2-piece cookware, which I picked up individually. For my camper. And it does have the induction heat bottom. And it has the little handles, rubber handles. And I thought for a camp stove that would be just perfect. And these were $4.99 each. And so I picked up the small one. And I picked up a larger one to do soups or noodles or pastas, potatoes, whatever I want to use my larger cookware for. And these are called Kitchen Scents. I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe, I don't know how to do that. Kitchen Scents. And these were individual at the little Gabriel Brothers, which we call Gabe's. And they're just an overstock store that sells everything very, very cheap. So I picked up the 2 little pots for the camper. Because your camp stove is only about maybe a 9 by 12, if that. So you don't really have very much space on your stove top. So these are going to be perfect for the camper. That way when I pack up my kitchen, I can go ahead and pack up all my cookware. And, of course, the beautiful little set of cutting boards. It has the floral print one, smaller one, and then the solid one on the back. And these are Homestead Kitchen. And these were $9.99 for the set. Very cute. And then the little chopper. And it was just simply called a hand chopper. Set it on your counter and chop. And I think it is absolutely adorable. It'll be a really nice addition for the camper for quick chop for walnuts or onions or peppers or whatever I may need chopped. So I thought I would show you my little goodies that I picked up on my little shopping adventure yesterday. And also made a pizza and got some bread in the bread pan rising for sandwich bread later. But anyway, these are some of the goodies that I found on my shopping adventure yesterday. And I think they're absolutely just adorable. And I thought I would come on and share. Everyone needs an adventure. And I just was having a day where I really didn't want to pack anything. And it was kind of cool. So I just took a day and went on a shopping adventure. And I really enjoyed my shopping adventure. And I thought I would share some of my little shopping finds with you all today. So, that's all I have. That's everything I want to be doing here this morning. So anyway, I guess that's it. So, enjoy your day. Wonderful. Oh, well, thank you. You know, if you can, and you have a little thrift store or this was Gabriel's, which is a discount overstock sale store. So I went to Gabriel's and I went to the kitchen section and found some little goodies. So I thought that was absolutely amazing. It'd be absolutely perfect for the camper, just the right size for the camp stove. That way when I pack up my kitchen here for the mobile home, for the move, I don't have to take any of my stainless steel. I have some new stainless steel for my camper. So, and these were called Kitchen Scents. They have the little handles, the rubber, and they have the induction bottom, which is really nice for a camp stove, because sometimes your stove in your camper, even though it's clear down on low, it still cooks rather warm, so that'll help keep things from burning. And again, my absolutely most precious little find, this picture, which it looks so old-fashioned, and I just absolutely love it. I don't know if you can see inside. It's like a beige color inside that matches the beige on the outside. And it is just so cute. I can just see that with flowers in it. So anyway, if you have a day where you're just going blah, or you don't really want to do anything at the house, take the day and go on a shopping adventure. You don't have to spend a lot of money. I think altogether this was $9.99 for my cutting boards. I think it was $6.99 or $7.99 for this beautiful little pitcher. Each piece of my cookware was individually. It was either $4.99 or $5.99 a piece. And my little chopper was $3.99 or $4.99. So altogether that's maybe 10, 20, maybe $30 that I spent yesterday on my adventure. So enjoy yourself and go on an adventure if you're having a day where it's cool outside and you don't really have anything to do at home. Wonderful, very pretty. Yes, it is. I think it's very pretty. So anyway, I just thought I'd come on and show you what I found on my little shopping adventure yesterday. And we had a bonus. My dough was already thawed out, so we got it shaped, and I'm allowing my bread loaf to rise. And we have the pizza in the oven. I'm going to take a look at that. And our dough is thawed out, so I've started the pizza. And oh, if we had smell-o-vision, oh, that smells delicious. And just look at that crust. What a beautiful crust. Pepperoni, extra cheese. So that will be dinner tonight. And I'm going to give that a few more minutes, probably about another 10 minutes. And that will be dinner. So I'm going to go ahead and set my timer. So anyway, that's all I have today. And yes, I'm in my comfortable sweats. It's cold here in Ohio. I woke up to frost and we're taking the puppies in and out. It was a little cool though. Yes, I'm in my sweats. I'm comfortable. And I'm enjoying a morning in the kitchen and sharing with you some of the goodies that I found on my shopping adventure. So anyway, till next time, you all enjoy your day, have fun, enjoy your kitchen, maybe go on a little shopping adventure. Find something special, something that makes you feel good, even on a cold, dreary day. This brought a smile to my face. So, I absolutely love it. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I'm going to hop off of here and go relax. Dinner's in the oven, so that will be dinner. I have bread rising for sandwich bread, and that will take care of my day. Hubby has plenty of desserts, so I'm covered on desserts. So I'm going to enjoy my day and just rest. Lay around in my sweats. And take it easy today. So next time. Bye-bye, everyone. As always say, enjoy your kitchen. Go in and have fun. Try new things. You're never too old or too young to learn new things. Maybe take a day for yourself. Give yourself a treat. Take a small shopping adventure like I did yesterday. It helps to lift your spirits and make you feel good. You know, I didn't have to spend that much. Everything I bought was very reasonably priced. The highest thing that I purchased, I believe, was the 2-piece cutting boards for $9.99. So you can go out and enjoy your day, and it doesn't really cost a lot. Pick up something small, something that'll make you smile, something that'll help warm your kitchen and warm your heart. So Till next time. Bye-bye, everyone. Enjoy your day. And I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.